The whole idea of small craft cruising is you don't have to be a millionaire. You don't even have to be 100,000-aire to own a small, usable, fun boat. And I'm not just talking about like a little rowboat that's going to get you nowhere. A few $1,000s can buy you a lot more boat than people think. And that's kind of what this channel is about. It's what can you do with a trailerable boat. So in this video I'm going to introduce the boats, my fleet, as it were. And I'm going to talk about each boat, why I bought it, why it's there, what its existence is, what my intention is with it.
This is Herbert, a 24-foot 1978 Fiberform I bought for $2,000 in 2015. I've been slowly rebuilding it and restoring it ever since I bought it, and in 2016 we actually took it down the Mississippi River.
A lot of people ask me why Herbert, not the name. Well, they ask me about the name, but they mean why did you choose this one? Why did you choose a 1978 Fiberform 24? There's some very specific features that I was looking for in the boat. I actually, this is a 24. I actually wanted a 26 or a 27, but I just couldn't find one. Couldn't find one, so I settled on a 24. And so why did I settle on this boat? Well, one, this specific boat, the one that I bought, needed a complete restoration, needed to be gutted completely and rebuilt. That was actually a selling feature for me, is I wanted the chance to completely do the boat myself. One thing that was very, very important to me is I wanted headroom. So I'm exactly 6 feet tall. The headroom in the Fiberform 24 is 6 feet 1 inch. So this is one of very few boats that I can actually stand up in and I don't have to crouch.
I also really liked the idea of a flybridge. They don't give the boat a very sexy profile if you look at Herbert's side, but they add a lot of space to an otherwise small boat. I also love the walk around. If you're careful, you can easily walk fore and aft without having to squeeze through the forward hatch, which is real nice. Right now the rails are removed to repair the rails that cover the foredeck, but another great feature is the totally flat foredeck here. It's just large enough that 2 to 3 people can lie on it comfortably. I don't like the engine sticks up on the rear deck, but can't have everything on a 24-foot frame. Inside, the big reason for the remodel was to move the bulkhead back 6 inches. This increased the V-berth enough to accommodate 2 6-foot-tall adults.
So that's basically Herbert. Great boat. I like it. I'm really happy with him. If he was a little bigger, that'd be great, but if he was a little bit bigger, it'd be harder to trailer him. So realistically, I'm pretty happy with the size and everything about him.
Next we have a 1959 NYLOX. I don't know the model of this, but it's a 12-foot boat, and it actually began life as a ski boat.
What really prompted me to buy the NYLOX was my trip down the Mississippi River. Basically, when we had Herbert there, and we had one of those West Marine 9-foot tri-hull dinghies. They're also made by Sun Dolphin, and I don't know who actually makes it, but you know they're the really common tri-hull plastic boat. And the problem with those boats is they're only 5 horsepower rating, so they have a top speed of about 5 to 6 miles an hour. The Mississippi River at its height when we were going down it was about 3 miles an hour. So if we had our tri-hull fully loaded, we had about a 2 mile an hour speed over the ground, because we were going, 5 miles an hour with a 3 mile an hour current, so we were going 2 miles an hour, and it wasn't fast enough to be safe. So I thought, okay, we need to get something more powerful, or we need something with a higher horsepower rating and more, more versatile, more durable. So step one of my research was, do I want an inflatable dinghy or do I want a rigid dinghy? And while I openly admit there are a lot of advantages to an inflatable, I like the rigid dinghies better. So I wanted a rigid dinghy. After I settled on a rigid dinghy, I had to decide on a size. Do I want to get a little 8-footer? Should I get a 15-foot? What's a reasonable size for a dinghy? I live in Southern California, and so I went to each marina, and I looked at their dinghy docks, and I looked at what their footage limitation was. And most dinghy docks in California are 12 to 13 feet. And that's how I landed on the NYLOX, was this is a 12-foot model. Some features that you really want for ocean use are a closed bow. The windshield you don't have to have. I like it because it keeps spray off the boat really well, and it also keeps the wind off, because it can be kind of cold. Even in California, if you're out boating, sorry, there's bees and wasps all over. It's kind of that time of year. If you're out boating in California and you know, you can boat year round, but it does get a little cold in the mornings. So that's why I wanted a closed bow for, you know, in case you get into a big wave, and then I wanted the windscreen or the windshield, you know, just to kind of keep the boat warmer and drier. Another really big feature, now the interior obviously hasn't been installed yet, so you just got to pretend that there's 2 bucket seats and a bench back here. That's what it's going to be. So that's, you know, I like the interior. I also liked splashback. But one of the reasons I wanted a splashback is if you actually get a little bit of water in over the transom, rather than it going directly into the boat, there's a chance that it just hits your splashback and drains back out. So if you're in kind of choppier weather or something like that on a smaller boat, you're not going to be sunk so quickly.
Another consideration was the overall weight of the boat. When this boat is finished, it will still be light enough that 2 to 3 people can pick it up and carry it ashore if needed. And now to debut my newest acquisition, a 1965 Cal sailboat. These are 25 feet long and have a strong reputation for their speed and cruising comfort despite only a 20-foot waterline. That fin or keel you see at the bottom weighs 1,700 pounds and keeps the boat stable when sailing.
So I know what some of you are thinking. Wait a minute. Herbert's in pieces and you've just gone out and bought another boat. And yeah, you know why? One of the big differences you may notice on this boat versus all the others is that it's a sailboat. I was going to start the channel off actually with Mr. Wickham. I had Mr. Wickham before I had Herbert by about a year and a half, but a 19-foot boat was just too small. Realistically, like, if I'm going to film these, I've got to like move cameras around and you know, and do my filming and such. Well, while I'm moving the cameras around, someone's got to be steering the boat, which means I got to have like, you know, at least 2 people in the boat. And a 19-foot was just too small to realistically have 2 people on the boat and all our gear and all the film equipment, and it just didn't work. Well, the good news is this sailboat is not a project. And all of you boat-owning veterans just laughed at me, and I agree with you 100%. It's not a project, and the idea is that this boat is ready to sail right now. It doesn't need anything. The only thing we're going to do to this boat is there's about 5 or 6 little things that are broken. A couple of, like I said, you know, a cleat here, the tiller, the wooden tiller is broken. So I mean, you can just go buy a new tiller. It's no big deal. The biggest thing with this boat is if you saw underneath the below the water line, it's all bleh and yucky. We're going to paint it. Since this boat's going to be for extended cruising in the ocean, maybe 2-3 weeks at a time, we're going to put an anti-fouling paint, the kind that can go on a trailer. There's a really specific type of anti-fouling paint that's, you know, for trailers. I'm sorry, not for trailers, but for trailerable boats. And that's what we're going to use for this one. So why did I choose this specific boat? First of all, I paid $1,000 for this boat. With the trailer, no motor. That was a deal I couldn't pass up. Now these boats, they're really good boats. They're not worth a whole lot. One of these in really good original condition is worth about $3,000 or $4,000. So saying I got it for $1,000 isn't really like a screaming deal. Well, it is, but it's not like I got a $10,000 boat for $1,000. I got a $3,000 to $4,000 boat for $1,000.
A look into the interior shows it's in good condition, but it is all original and 53 years old, so it's definitely far from perfect. Now, if you have a close look at the fiberglass, you can definitely tell this 53-year-old boat has been used a lot, and this boat has a lot of miles on it. Even though it's all there, it really is not worth a whole lot of money.
I think every sailboat engineer, designer, architect has got to be about 4 feet tall. Remember, one of my big selling points on Herbert was it's a 24-foot boat with 6 foot of headroom. And this is a 25-foot boat with, I think this is about 4'11". I don't know why, but sailboats are just so tiny. And this model is called a pop top. So this cutout here, along here, pops up, which is a cool idea, except for the pop-up top stops here. So every time you want to go to the head or you need to get something, you're always hunched over, and I really don't like that about this boat. That's one of my biggest complaints. Another really big selling feature for me was The Cal 25s have a very flat deck. As I showed you with Herbert, his foredeck is completely flat and you can lay down on it. And there we go. So a lot of sailboats, you can't do this. A lot of sailboats in this class, I have, the hump, and then they have like a little walk area, and you can't relax on it. A proper cruising vessel is comfortable when you're driving, but also comfortable when you're anchored.
So here's my humble fleet. Each one of these vessels costs less than $5,000. And of course they need work. But here's a great example of what you can buy when you're boating on a budget. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.